Hi students, here are some reminders before we start our online class. Do not forget to write your solution. Fill in the student information box of your notebook. And do not forget to leave a comment after watching our online class video. Thank you very much. Keep learning and be safe. Hi everyone, it's day 2 of our week 8. I'm teacher Darnie and today we are going to have a new topic. Today we are going to discuss about decimals. But of course, we are also going to discuss the relationship between decimals and fraction that of course we already discussed for the past weeks. Now, our objectives is for you to be able to convert fractions to decimals, meaning we are going to change fractions to decimals. So we are going to discuss their relationship. And of course, you are going to answer your activity number 18 at the end of this discussion. Okay, now let's have our vocabulary for today. We have the first one, decimal numbers. Again, decimal numbers. Next, whole numbers. Whole numbers. Next, place value. Again, place value. And the last one we have decimal point. Decimal point. So these words we are going to use this as we discuss, as we progress in our discussion. Now, what do you mean by decimal? When we say decimal, these are actually the numbers that we use in everyday life are what we call decimal numbers because they are based on 10 digits. So you could see from 0 to 9. Now, when we say actually decimal, it is often used to mean a number that uses a decimal point followed by digits that show a value smaller than 1. Okay, now we have here an example. 254.179. Again, 254.179. Now, a decimal has two parts. Okay, the left side, these are the whole numbers. So 254, those are whole numbers. And on the right side, we have the decimal numbers. So the numbers 1, 7, and 9, those are on the right side. They are what we call decimal numbers. Now, this whole number and decimal numbers, they are separated by what we call a decimal point. Okay, in math, we call it decimal point. Now, let's review first place value, and I know that you already discussed this in your primary 4. Let's discuss first or review again place value. So let's start with the whole numbers. So 4 is in the ones place, 5 is in the tens place, 2 is in the hundreds place, and so on and so forth. Now on the decimal number side, on the right side, we have 1 is in the tenths place, 7 is in the hundredths place, and 9 is in the thousandths place. Now take note on the pronunciation, and of course be mindful of the spelling. Tens and tenths are not the same. Tens is spelled as T-E-N-S, while tenths is spelled as T-E-N-T-H-S. So please be mindful of the spelling. Now, if we are going to get the value of those digits, we have 4 ones, so we have 4. 5 tenths, so we have 50. So that's just 5 times 10. So we have 50. And 2 hundredths, we have 200. So that is like 2 times 100. So therefore, we have 200. Now, on the right side, we have the decimal numbers. We have 1 tenths, so that is 0.1. We have 7 hundredths, that is 0.07. And we have 9 thousandths, that is 0.009. Now let's discuss more about decimals. Let's have here an example. So you could see we have a rectangle, and this rectangle is divided equally into 10 parts. Now you could see here that there are 7 parts that are shaded. So we can say that 7 parts out of 10 parts are shaded. Now, if we are going to write this into a fraction, we can write this as 7 tenths or 7 over 10. Now, if we are going to convert this into a decimal, we write this as 0.7. Again, 0.7. So take note that our denominator is 10. So therefore, 7 is in the tenths place. Again, we have 7 tenths. So therefore, 7 is in the tenths place. Okay, now another example. Again, we have a rectangle here, and the rectangle is divided into 10 equal parts. You could see that there are 4 shaded parts, so 4 parts out of 10 parts are shaded. Okay, so if we're going to write this into a fraction, we can write this as 4 tenths or 4 over 10. Okay, now if we are going to write this into a decimal, we can write this as 0.4. Okay, again, take note that our denominator is 10, so our 4 will be in the tenths place. Another example. Here we have 4 rectangles, and each rectangles are divided into 10 equal parts, so that's the same. Now the first rectangle, all the parts were shaded, so we can write this as 10 over 10. That is the same with the second second rectangle and the third rectangle. Now here on the fourth rectangle, we have only 6 out of 10 equal parts that are shaded. So we write it as 6 over 10. Now, can you recall our previous lessons in fraction that if the denominator and I'm sorry, the numerator and the denominator are the same, that is of course 1 whole. So that is equal to 1. So 10 over 10, that will be equal to 1. Now, with the fourth rectangle, we have 6 over 10. If we are going to change this into a decimal number, we write it as 0.6. Okay, so now if we're going to write this, if we're going to add this fractions, and if we're going to write this into a decimal, therefore we have 3.6. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 0.6, that is equal to 3.6. Okay, now let's have another example. Oh, here we have a square, and if you're going to count actually these squares, the square is divided into 100 equal parts. Okay, now we have here one shaded part. So one part out of 100 parts is shaded. So if we are going to write that as fraction, we can write it as 100ths, or we can have 1 over 100. Now, writing this into decimal would be equal to 0.01. Why is 1 on the hundreds place? So take note that our denominator is 100. So therefore, we write 1 in the hundreds place. Again, hundreds place. The spelling is with THS. Hundreds place. Now, let's have another example. Here, the same square, we have 100 equal parts, and 23 part of the 100 parts are shaded. So 23 parts were shaded. So if we are going to write this into a fraction, we have 23 hundredths, or 23 over 100. So if we are going to write that into a decimal, we have 0.23. Again, 0.23. Okay, now let's have another example. Here we have now 3 squares, and each square are divided into 100 equal parts. The first square, all the parts were shaded, so we have 100 over 100. Same as the second square, we have 100 over 100. On the third square, we only have 7 shaded parts out of 100. So if we are going to change this, we know that 100 over 100 is 1. Okay, that is 1 whole. And 7 over 100 is written as 0.07. So if you're going to add all these decimals, 1 plus 1 plus 0.07, we have 2.07. Okay, so that's just a quick review on your previous lessons about the relationship between fraction and decimal. Now, let's discuss about converting fractions to decimals, meaning we are going to change decimals to fraction. A while ago we do that already, but let's have more examples. Now, example number 1. We have here 7 over 20. Now, take note that our denominator is not 10, it's not 100, but it's 20. So what are we going to do? So since our denominator is 20, we need to change this into a base 10 denominator. When we say base 10, let's say we start from 1, we multiply it by 10, so we have 10. We multiply it again by 10, so we have 100. 100 we multiply by 10, we have 1000. So when we say base 10 denominator, our denominator should be either 10, 100, or 1000, or so on and so forth. So let's just have 10, 100, and 1000. So therefore, we are going to change 7 over 20. And in this example, we are going to change 20 to 100. We cannot change it to 10, of course. We cannot also change it to 1000 since 20 can be converted to 100. So we will change 20 by 100. So 7 over 20 multiply by what number to make it 100? We multiply it by 5. So 20 times 5, we have 100. And 7 times 5, we have 35. Now look at this one. We have 35 over 100. If we are going to write that into a decimal number, we have 0.35. Okay, so that is very, very easy. Let's have another example. Now we have here 13 over 25. Again, our denominator is not 10, it's not 100, it's not 1000. So we are going to change our fraction. In this example, we can change 25 to 100. So therefore, we are going to multiply it by, of course, 4. So we have 13 times 4, we have 52. 25 times 4, we have 100. And now we can change our fraction into decimal. We have 52 over 100, so that is equal to 0.52. Okay, so that is our answer. Now let's have more example. We have here 1 over 8. Oh, I think it's very easy. Teacher, can we change 8 to 10? No, we cannot change it to 10. Can we change our denominator to 100? No, I think 8 is not 100 is not divisible by 8. So how about 1000? Yes, we can change it to 1000. So in this example, we are going to change our denominator to 1000. So we can multiply it by 125. So 1 times 125, that is 125. And 8 times 125, we have 1000. So if we are going to write 125 over 1000, we have 0.125. Again, we have 0.125. So that is how you convert fractions to decimals. Another example, we have 9 over 4. Take note, our denominator is 4. We change it to 100. So we cannot change it to 10. So we can change it to 100. So 9 over 4 is multiplied by 25 over 25. So 9 times 25, we have 225. 4 times 25, we have 100. Now our answer would be 2.25. Now take note, our fraction is an improper fraction, right? So if we are actually going to simplify that, that would be 2 and 25 over 100. So if we have 25 over 100, that is 0.25. And we have a whole number, which is 2. If we are going to add that, we have 2.25. Now let's have another example about mixed number. Here, we have here a mixed number, 5 and 1 over 25. Now, take note that a mixed number is a combination of a whole number and a proper fraction. So in this example, our whole number is 5 and our fraction is 1 over 25. Now, we can have this method by separating 5, the whole number, and the fraction, which is 1 over 25. So that would be 5 plus 1 over 25. Okay, so now we can change now our fraction. Since our denominator is 25, we are going to change it to 100. And we're going to multiply it by 4. So let's just copy our whole number, which is 5, and then we multiply 1 times 4, we have 4, and 25 times 4, we have 100. So if we are going to change our fraction to decimal, we can write it as 0.04. Okay? Now, if we are going to add now 5 plus 0.04, our final answer would be 5.04. Okay, so that is our final answer, 5.04. Let's have one more example before we end this discussion. We have 63 and 7 over 8. Again, we have a mixed number. 63 is our whole number. 7 over 8 is our fraction. So let's separate this one. 63 plus 7 over 8. And we are going to change our denominator. Here in this example, we cannot change it to 10. We cannot change it to 100. So therefore, we can change it to 1000. So if we're going to multiply those one, we are going to use 125. So 63 plus 7 times 125, we have 875. And 8 times 125, we have 1000. So our fraction now is 875 over 1000. Let's change this into decimal. We can write it as 0.875. Again, 0.875. So if we are going to add this whole number and this decimal number, we have 63.875. So this is now our final answer. Okay, so that's how you convert fraction to decimal. So now let's answer our activity number 18. So we have here 15 questions. Why 15? Because some of the items are very, very, very easy. So, let's practice more on converting fraction to decimal. Other letters are very easy, so let's have more items here. So you have 15 items, and take note, you are going to write your answer on your paper and your solution on the solution paper that was given. Again, do not use your notebook anymore, okay? Use the paper that was given to you, okay? And by the way, for our online consultation, we're just going to have that one tomorrow. So if you have questions about how to convert fractions to decimals, we can discuss it again tomorrow. And we are going to have some techniques on how to answer conversion of fraction to decimal more easier. So tomorrow we are going to discuss that one. Okay, so again, today we discuss about decimal. This is our first topic about decimals, and we discussed the relationship between fractions and decimal. Once again, do not forget to answer your activity number 18 and write your answer on the paper. So that ends our discussion about decimals. Thank you very much, everyone. Keep learning and be safe. Have a nice day today.